excited for us to hear that. I don't want to do that one.
You know what?
Are you recording?
Yeah.
The Kenise and Marc Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Kenise and Marc Show. I am Kenise.
I'm Marc.
And we're so excited to launch our first show, the Kenise and Marc Show.
Yes.
So it's all about relationships. So we want to tell you why we decided to start a show. So Marc and I met a number of years ago.
Yes.
And it was under the circumstances where I wanted to do my first album. I'm a Christian artist, a worship leader. And Marc, I came to him and he was like, hey, she's the best thing ever. Let's get rolling.
Yes, exactly what I said.
So we decided, but during our conversations about my project, we did talk a lot about different types of relationships. Marc and I come from a very similar type of background. We're both pastors' kids. We're going to tell you a little bit later about ourselves. But so we decided that, you know, it's very difficult in the church life that we don't really talk about relationships and things that people go through in relationships. And as we talked, we've been through some very difficult relationships during the course of our life, and we wanted to be able to give you guys, the viewers, an opportunity to have a forum where you can ask questions and hear our thoughts about certain things. Now, we're not gurus, we're not therapists, we're not psychologists, and we're definitely not love heroes, but we are individuals who have gone through a process, and during the making of that process, we think we have some great words of wisdom that we could share with you guys out there. So, Marc?
Exactly. Yes, well, this kind of started again in the middle of working on Kenise's album. I'm working on a few albums, and one of the albums I'm working on deals with relationships. And I wrote a song entitled, I'm Sorry, Please Forgive Me. And I know I wanted to do a duet with someone, so Kenise is the perfect person. So she agreed to do it, reluctantly.
After a very, very long time.
She didn't want to, she listened to the lyrics, she said, I can't do this, I can't sing this. Why? Because she was just going, at that time, through a divorce. So it was kind of rough on her. But after we did the song, and the song really touched both of us, and we got to really get used to it, and we saw the feedback from others. We did a music video of the song. And then we thought about it, it's like, wow, we're not the only ones going through this. And maybe we can be some help to people watching and listening and getting advice about relationships and about how to forgive and how to, forgive and ask for forgiveness. That seems to be something that we don't like to do as a society. Some people go to their graves
and don't ask for
forgiveness or don't apologize. So we want to deal with that today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, our topic today is why didn't my marriage work? And before we enter to that topic, we wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an intro about ourselves, and then we're going to show you guys the video of our song, I'm Sorry, Please Forgive Me, and then we're going to hit the topic a little bit more. So I am from New York. We're both from New York, and we're recording in New York, so we're really excited about that because we love New York. So in my secular life, I work in human resources, and in my Christian life, I am a worship and praise leader at my local church in Richmond Hill, Queens, New York.
I have recently become a pastor at a church here in Brooklyn, and I continue to produce and compose and write music on a constant basis, produce many artists. So that's where we are now. It's not a whole lot about me, and I have one cat.
So without any further ado, we want you guys to take a look at our music video, I'm Sorry, Please Forgive Me. Check it out.
I'm convinced of one thing. The divorce rate would be much lower. Relationships would last much longer if we would just say these words when that moment is upon us. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Come on, let's talk about it.
We started out some time ago.
a text. It appears you've been talking to another man. How could you do this? Now I'm wondering, should I break it off or stay with you? I really love you and I need you. Just not sure if we can make it another day.
I'm sorry.
Please come back to me.
Please forgive me, my love.
It doesn't matter what we're going through.
We should always find a way.
It feels like you're shutting me out.
I'm sorry.
Just try it again.
Please forgive me, my love.
It doesn't matter what we're going through.
We should always find a way.
We have come too far to turn back, and our love will be
Much stronger than before. We will make it through the hurt.
and we will make it through the tears. Just hold on.
Let's hold on. Stop talking to me. It doesn't matter what we're going through. We should always find our way. I don't wanna feel alone. I need you to hold me tight. It doesn't matter what we're going through. We should always find our way.
I need you to hear me out.
I'm sorry.
Please come back to me.
Please forgive me, my love.
It doesn't matter what we're going through.
We should always find our way.
Feels like you're shutting me out.
I'm sorry.
Can we just try it again?
Please forgive me, my love.
It doesn't matter what we're going through.
We should always find our way.
Yeah.
I love you. Baby, you're all I need. I want you right here with me. I love you. Baby, you're all I need.
Welcome back. We really hope you guys enjoyed that song. You know, like Mark said earlier, when he played this, when he gave me the lyrics for the song, it was a very, very difficult time in my life. And he gave me a song with lyrics to talk about forgiveness, specifically in a relationship between a guy and a girl. And I just was not feeling that song at all. It took a very, very long time. Even when doing the music video, the guy who was producing the video kept saying, "Kenise, where's your emotion? You have no emotion." And I'm like, I just don't feel the song. It was just, I was at a place where it was very hard for me to forgive. And if you're a Christian viewer out there looking at this, you know very well that forgiveness is a huge part of the Christian walk.
Yes.
But we're going to deal specifically amongst other topics on this show. One particularly is forgiveness. So today our topic is, why didn't my marriage work? So like Mark said earlier, we are, I don't know if you said it, but we were both victims of,
Yes.
of a divorce.
Of a divorce.
And then people would ask, you know, probably yourself watching this show, well, they're talking about all about relationships, but they're divorcees. Like, what advice would we be able to give to you if you're happily married or not married? You know, we're a bunch of divorcees. I'll tell you why you should listen to us. We've, 1, dated. 2, we've both fallen in love with people. 3, we've gone through that whole marriage process, you know, that courting marriage process. 4, we've gone through a whole divorce process, and years down the road, we are survivors. So we can talk to anybody that's going through the process, whether you're currently dating, whether you are now deciding to get engaged, because I've gone through that. The whole dating, the whole engagement, the whole planning a wedding for 2 years, then the whole marriage thing, then the whole divorce thing, and then the aftermath of a divorce. So I think I have some powerful words of wisdom that would help you, and that's what we want to be able to do.
And not only that, you know, after you get a divorce, that doesn't mean your life is over. I mean,
My life is over. My life is over, Jesus.
This show is going to help us as well as it's helping you, because after divorce, if you want to pursue another relationship, and possibly get married again, you know, you need to look back on, you know, where you went wrong. Now, why did our marriages not work? I can speak for me. One of the main reasons why my marriage didn't last is because I'm a workaholic, and I work. And what I failed to do, and I'm speaking about me, I failed to put things into perspective. I should have had family time, you know, one night a week, just my family, another night of the week, just me and the wife. And I didn't do that. And I had to take a lot of time to think back on where did I go wrong. It's easy to point the finger, but I had to look at what I did. And I think that if I had given a little bit more time to my family, I might have just held out, you know, a little longer, you know. So, you know, you gotta have quality time.
I'm happy you got that off your chest today on our first show.
Yeah, thank you.
So we talked, Mark and I said this topic of why didn't our marriage work. We're not speaking specifically about our marriage, but we will use that as an example.
Right.
And we came up with 4 specific areas because we can talk for days and hours and months and years about this particular topic.
She can.
So, but we decided to give you guys 4 F's. The first F we wanted to talk about, I think it's very important if your marriage is going to work, whether you're in day 1 of your marriage or day 7,048, you must be friends. So, I don't know how many years is that. What are you doing, counting? Get the calculator. Right? So I think the first F we wanted to let you guys know, it's very important to be friends. Because at the end of the day, if that person is not your best friend who you feel comfortable going to and talking to them, it becomes very discouraging.
Right, I agree.
Part of being do you want to add anything else to that, Mark? You know, I'm trying to think of when, you know, being friends with my ex, I don't know if we were really like best friends, but we did share like a commonality in regards to music, and that kind of brought us together, and we were able to see eye to eye because we were both very passionate about music. But I feel if I were to go into another marriage or another relationship with somebody on a serious level, Mark, I really want to be able to confide in that person. I want to be able to share anything, you know, anything that's going on in my life, my emotions, my heart, everything. I want to be able to share with that person, and that person will be honest and open and sharing it with me.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think we have to really check our emotions. It's easy when you meet someone and you get all caught up in the moment, you know, and that's okay. But really check your emotions and really focus on the friendship. Because when you're really friends with somebody, that's going to last.
Right.
That's going to last. Even if the relationship doesn't work,
you're still friends. Right.
And unfortunately, that doesn't work with a lot of us. But you have to become friends first. I mean, real friends. And as that picks up, then you can, you know, pull that emotion in a little bit more. And then, you know, hopefully, you know, the love will kick in and you fall in love. But that friendship is very important. Yes,
I do agree with you. So that's our F number 1. Our second F is practicing forgiveness, which we talked about earlier. I think in a marriage, in a relationship, whether you're dating or even in any other type of relationship, whether it's just a regular friendship with your girlfriends or guy friends, that you should practice forgiveness. We are not perfect. We're humans. I don't know a perfect human out there. Maybe some would say I am, but Mark, we disagree on our show today. But on a serious note, it's so important that we forgive. I mean, when the time comes when people get very sick and very ill, sometimes I've heard, you know, being in church all of these years, when somebody gets very old and very ill, they tend to like call the people who they've hurt or the people that have hurt them in the past, and they wait till that final moment.
As a musician, and I've played for many funerals, one of the saddest things I've ever seen is to see somebody at the casket and they're talking and they're crying. They practically want to get in the casket with them. and it sounds humorous, but it's so sad, because that shows me that you had all the time in the world to speak to that person, to let them know how much you love them and, you know, forgive them or ask for forgiveness, and you didn't do it. And when they're stretched out in the casket, it's too late. And you have to live with that for the rest of your life. And so like you said, the key term is practice. Practice forgiving, even if it's just something little. You took my Tootsie Roll.
What's a Tootsie Roll?
And what's a Tootsie Roll?
Yeah, how many licks does it get to the bottom of the Tootsie Roll?
No, that's the lollipop Tootsie Roll.
Sorry. Okay, I don't know.
Very
I don't
good.
like Tootsie Roll, by the way.
Yeah, I don't like it either. But I was using it as an example.
Y'all don't send
But,
us Tootsie Rolls.
You have to practice forgiveness. That's the main thing, because if you wait till somebody's gone, you have to live with that, and you don't. We don't think about that stuff until it happens. So I make every attempt on my part to live with no regrets.
Life is too short.
It is.
Life is way too short. And even practicing forgiveness because I've had friends who have walked out of my life.
Me
and
too.
like they ghost me. Like guys who have ghosted me, girls that have ghosted me, they just like disappear. Just boom, out of nowhere. I call them, text them, have no idea where they are, what I did wrong. But you know what? In my heart, I've said, Lord, I have forgiven this person. Because you know what? They're moving on with their life. And a major part about unforgiveness, Mark, I believe, is that it's hindering you personally from growing because you're not forgiving. Because the person is moving on.
Spiritually and naturally. Because naturally, it's not healthy.
No.
Because you
Right.
develop ulcers and
I
your
agree.
blood pressure goes up and all kind of stuff happens.
Release it.
Because of, just let it go.
Let it go.
Let it
it go. All right. The third F. So our first F is being friends. Second F was forgiveness, and our third one is family. And I think the point that we want to make with family, Mark talked about it a little bit earlier about he feels part of why his marriage didn't work. One particular thing that he can focus in on was that spending more time with his family.
Yes.
So I think from the approach of, for me, for most females, family is very important. We like the date nights, and we like, the family nights, and we like, when we're going to church as a family, and we like when we're all dressing in the same color as a family. I don't know who still does that, but doing certain things as a family. One thing with our family, what I love, and it still is amazing. I have a very small family. I have one sister that's younger than me. But when my dad and my sister and I get, around a table, I think it's great when my parents are able to bring in the family, and we all talk about different things, and things start coming out, that you don't really know that's going on in your kid's life or in your parents' life, just around a dinner table.
Well, one reason why you just reminded me, my family is so close. My parents and I have one sister. We grew up, we had breakfast together, and we had dinner together every day.
People don't do that these days.
They don't do that. We had, and just go back to what you just said, at the dinner table, we could talk about what happened during the day.
Right.
And, till this day now, all four of us are just very close. I love, very close to my mom, my dad, and my sister. And even though she lives in Maryland, and we're all kind of apart, I live here by myself, and my parents, but we're all very close. That family, once you do it right, they'll go forever.
I think it's amazing. The other point we wanted to talk about for family is there's that other part when it comes to relationship. Sometimes family can be a negative impact if you allow them to be. Certain families, in my culture, so let's talk, I'm Guyanese, my background is Guyanese. In our culture, families love to be all up in everybody's business, most families. If you're married or you're in a relationship, you're getting engaged, or you're probably thinking about a divorce, sometimes listening to the voices of your family members can really hurt and break a relationship.
Yes.
I think it's very important that you watch out who you're listening to, and if family are getting involved, I don't think there should be a limit. There's some kind of involvement with family, but I feel there should be a limit. What do you think?
Absolutely. Even though, especially when you get married, they say you don't just marry the spouse, you marry their family, which is kind of true, but there has to be a line drawn. You just, after a certain, time, I say, okay, all y'all go home, turn the phone off, look, this is our lives, especially when it comes to issues. If there's a problem, it's like, no, we have to work this out ourselves.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And you have to stick to that, because
Right.
you let family get involved, the problems, oh man.
So our final F is having fun.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of having fun together alone. I spoke with somebody the other day who travels she's married, they have 5 kids, and couple of months ago, she spent 24 days in the course of the month traveling. And she literally said, I don't have any time with my husband. My husband sat me down before the new year started and said, our marriage is not going to work. Because in the month of December, you've only been here 24 days. She said they make great money. They can afford to go on holiday. They can afford to go to restaurants, but it's the time. And it goes back to that friendship, because I believe they have a really great friendship, but they just did not make time. So now she had to quit her job because she wanted to. She had to make a choice. She was at the place where her husband said, I know you make great money. I know you love your job, but 24 days out of the month, you're gone. So he is like the dad mom. So he's doing everything besides that. She said, you know, intimately, they weren't able to be intimate. They weren't able to spend time together because when she comes home, she has to do the laundry. She has to wash the dishes. She has to take care of the kids. She has to make sure all the bills are paid because those were her responsibility. So I felt for her because I said, when was the last time you guys did a date night? She couldn't even remember.
Being complacent is dangerous in any relationship. You have to just constantly be mindful that God gave you to me, He gave me to you, and we have to just make that work. You have to check your priorities. I know we get caught up in, a great job and our social life with our friends and going to job parties and all that. And all that's wonderful, and I've seen it in church as a musician. And so I'll sit on the organ, I'm like, why are all these women always at church? For every service. I mean, and it is good to be faithful and loyal. Yeah. But I mean, do you ever bring your husband with you? And then you're gonna go home and say, "Oh wow, I love my pastor, and you keep doing this." It's like, okay, so when do you have time for your husband? And I feel that it's more of a problem with women coming to church and abandoning their husbands than the husbands. Right. Yeah. Abandoning their wives. Right. So again, that's just another example of complacency. So complacency, whether you're in the church or whether it's a job, whatever it is, you have to focus on your marriage or your relationship to work. Right.
I think there's a little bit of a breakdown. It goes back to like number one when we said you have to be friends.
Gotta be friends.
I know couples that have been married for a long time and they can't be in the same room together. There's nothing they can talk about. They have nothing to discuss.
I don't know how marriages last like that. I mean, some people they stay together because it's
the children, the house, the mortgage.
It's easy to pay the bills, and I don't know. I don't think that's healthy at all. And one way or another, that's going to catch up with you.
It sure will. And then you're going to end up living this life, this one life. My dad says all the time. He preaches this all the time. We have one life. One life, just one. And we want to make sure that whoever we're partnering with somebody, it's the most important decision you will ever make. Whether it's picking a college, whether it's buying a house, whether it's buying a car, those are very important decisions. But who will be your life partner is the most major decision you will ever make, because that person will either break you or make you.
Yes.
So those are just our 4 points that we wanted to talk about. We could have picked out 50 other points, and we're going to be discussing a lot more other topics. Mark, did you want to add anything else about what we talked about? Why did our marriage work?
Again, just to reiterate, you have to be friends and don't take your partner for granted.
Very, very, very important.
Check your priorities.
Yeah.
Don't get complacent. That's the best I can offer today.
Yeah. So we really hope you guys enjoyed our show, the Kenise and Marc show, all about relationships. You guys can check us out on Facebook. We would love to hear from you. We do have our page. So like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Marc and I both have our personal Facebook pages. You can't be friends with Marc on his personal page because he's already hit the maximum. So FYI, I haven't.
Or you go to my Music Lab page.
Yes.
And I am on Instagram as well.
Great. Yes, you will definitely find us. All the information will be at the end of this video, and we want you to share this video. It's really important. If you know somebody that's going through some relationship issues or maybe getting into marriage or dating and you want to give them some great advice, we want you guys to share this video with them. So thank you guys so much for checking us out. Send us your comments. If you guys have questions, we would love to have some of you guys on our show to discuss the topics, or it could be anonymous. It's up to you, but we're really excited to launch our show, the Kenise and Marc show, for the first time. So we're really excited. Thanks guys for joining us, and have a wonderful day.